Corsair just released a new Hall Effect gaming keyboard in the Vanguard Pro 96. I am so excited to finally be able to share this keyboard with you because it's been on my desk and I've really been enjoying it. Now, as far as inside your box, of course, you're going to get your keyboard, and I believe it's only coming in a black version right now. Hopefully a white one comes later on. You do get this wrist rest, which is incredibly plush. Like, you might want to take a snooze on this thing. It is also magnetic. You get your braided USB-C to A cable. And then you get maybe the nicest keycap and switch puller because yes, this keyboard is hot swap, but again, it's just really nice. Look at that little grip point you got there. But anyways, besides any of that stuff, let me show you the keyboard itself. Taking a look over it, again, you got that 96% layout where you got your num key and then your shortcuts over and everything. As you see, you have that screen, which I'm gonna show you a lot about. Media dial up here, which you can actually do a whole lot more with it as well. Your keycaps, double shot PBT, as you see. You do have that floating keycap design, so some of the RGB does flare out a little bit, but nothing obnoxious or crazy by any means. The branding is right over here on this side. As you can see, it says Vanguard. Now you got G1 through, what is it, 4 or 5 over here. And these are the kind of shortcut keys you always see on full-size keyboards that are up over here. And I never liked that because whenever I was gaming, I'd be like this, bam, and I'd accidentally press one over there. And I've actually mentioned this before. I said, it'd be so cool if they put these G switches right down here on the side. So really cool to see. I'm not trying to claim it, but again, really cool that a wish that I had finally came through right there. You also have Corsair on the back end of the keyboard, and flipping the board over, this is something I really like here. Well, number one, you got your standard feet, rubber right there, one layer of pop out, but underneath it here, you have all this routing for a cable. Now, unfortunately for me, I do use a custom cable. I can't really tuck it in to the keyboard. My cable is a little bit thicker. So again, if you like really get in there and shimmy it, maybe you can. But again, just letting you know, it is going to be a snug fit, but really cool that you can route your cable anywhere outside of the keyboard. So again, it's not in your way. I absolutely love this. So let's take a closer look at the keyboard and more importantly, the switches, and then we'll roll right into that sound test. As far as the keycaps, again, I mentioned they are double shot PBT. Kind of a stinker that there's not dampening foam in the spacebar. I believe Corsair did it on some of their previous boards. We just see a lot of companies doing that. Real simplistic, and it definitely makes an improvement. Kind of a stinker they didn't do it here, and you'll notice that in the sound test as well. But coming over to the stabilizers, they are clip-in, but man, they are solid. They're not really budging at all. Same with the switch, not really budging any bit. By the way, as far as the case of the keyboard, this outer bit going around the frame and underneath is plastic. Up here is metal. Kind of a stinker. I really like when Corsair used to make them completely metal because you can see, like, you do get a little bit of flex if you're pressing down. And yet, I don't want to say you feel that whenever you're gaming, but if you're a firmer presser, again, it's clear as day that you're getting flex right there. Maybe if there was a rubber foot right down here in the middle, it would reduce that flex. So that's a little bit of a stinker. But anyways, back to the switches. Popping these out, they are using the Corsair magnetic switches here. So you see it on the bottom, you got the 2 pins, and then you got your magnet coming out through there. Now, an interesting thing right here, take a look at the dampening foam. So it's hot swap as you saw, but just for magnetic switches, as you got the opening right there, and then your 2 pins on the side. But down here, you got these little white spots, right? So it's like set up for a 5-pin type of switch. So I don't know if they just took this dampening foam from another project, or maybe later on down the road, they're going to implement it where you can do 5-pin and magnetic, which is awesome. I wish every board did that, but it's just weird how it's set up like that in here. But it's really just for magnetic switches. So I don't know, maybe we'll see something coming down the road where you can swap 5-pin and Hall Effect. Now let's go take a quick look over the software here. And I know a lot of these are like, I've seen IQ left and right so many times, I don't need to see it. Well, now Corsair has their web hub over here, as you see. So you can come over here and just authorize whichever product you have. As you see, we have the Vanguard authorized in here, but really cool. I'm sure we're gonna see a lot more implementation of this right here. But I think IQ might be coming to this as well, because in my information from Corsair, they said, for now, it's the hub. So don't hold me to that. Again, it's just what I'm reading. But anyways, looking at it here, this is again web hub, so nothing needs to be installed, by the way. You got your lighting effects here, some colors you want to choose from, and then again, different effects. Coming down to more better stuff, juicy stuff, is your key assignment, where you can adjust any of the keys right over here, keystrokes, you got media, mouse buttons, so on and so forth. Now, later on down the road, the G1 through G5, this is your game switch mode up here, by the way, and you also have your function layer. But these switches are going to actually be able to be synced up to a Stream Deck. I don't use that, so again, it's not really a big selling feature for me. I just kind of like a little bit of shortcuts here and there, you know what I mean? So again, if you use a Stream Deck, that's super cool that that's going to be implemented into this board. Really awesome to see. You can adjust a media dial as well. I believe we got to go to the, oh, here it is, rodeo dial. You got that down in a separate function. But you got multi-actuation keys. So, you know, if you press it down a certain amount or another amount, you can get multiple actions through one press right there. We're all pretty familiar with that with a lot of boards these days. Then you got your actuation over here. You got rapid trigger and then your sensitivity, which you can adjust all this on the board, which they're going to show you through this screen. So again, even though I'm showing you this software, it's really cool that all this can be adjusted on the board. So stay tuned for that. Rotary dial, again, this is what I was showing you here. You can adjust it through all these. I don't really use all the stuff on it, just pretty much my brightness, volume and stuff. But you can come down here and create your own as well. So you come over here, your action to the left, right, and then as far as pressing. So again, as you're seeing, there's just so much customization packed into this board. It's really cool. And then yes, flash tap is available on this board. This is even more than adjustable switches. I need flash tap. Like, yes, I love setting my actuation pretty low to 0.7, 0.8, whatever, maybe 1.0 at the max, but flash tap, I can't game without it, right? You all know that if you've been through my videos. This is a feature. I know everyone says, oh, it's banned in this game or that game. Okay, but in the games I play, it's not banned in. So it's something I use, right? I'm not real competitive. And then as far as the screen, you can adjust the screen on the board as you saw up here, this little bit, which I'm about to show you. And I got a few different ones that I'm going to show you, cycle through, but you can add whichever pictures you want, and then you can change it actually on the board as well. I'll show you that here in a second. Key calibration, I didn't really mess with any of this. It's, you know, I don't know if it makes a difference or not. It's been perfectly fine for me. I'll talk about it in the performance. You had key testing over here, and then game mode, which again can be adjusted right on that switch. Now you got device settings, which take you in a little bit more as far as your polling rate for this, and then as far as firmware updates. And this keyboard does go up to 8,000. I am still in the 4,000 gang. This would just leave it at, and it just performs perfectly fine. So as cool as it is to see Corsair implementing web-based software, my favorite is being able to adjust everything right on the keyboard. That's just the way to go in my eyes. And you can adjust everything I just showed you directly on the keyboard. Number one, talking about that screen, hopefully you guys can see that in the camera. My red's looking a little bit orange right there. That's probably something to do with my camera, but I'll just tell you what, my logo right there is crisp. It's white, black, and red to a T. So again, just not sure how my camera is performing. But right over here, it's really cool. It gives you all the settings. I got 4K polling. I got my dial set to wired, right? It's in Windows mode. If I set caps, it goes right there. It gives you all your information right there on that screen. Now, one thing that I wish, as I mentioned in just about every keyboard with the screen, is I wish it was kind of raised up at an angle, or maybe you can press it and bam, it springs up and then it's at an angle. Because if you're gaming or just typing here, you almost got to like reach up and over to kind of look at it. You know, that's a bit of a pain. I wish it was more legible and at an angle so I can actually see it. That's one little gripe right there. But as far as adjusting everything, of course you got your standard shortcuts up there as far as brightness if you go like this. But just notice on the screen, as I'm adjusting brightness, it lets me know the level I'm at. Really, really like that. Super cool. You got your media controls and then your volume, which again, it will show up on the screen up there. But even other than that, the cool thing is you can actually adjust that stuff through the dial. So for example here, I'm going to go function, and then press this up here, and you're gonna see it cycle through. Let me angle the keyboard a little more so you guys can see here. But if I go function and with the F12, it's gonna go through each different setting that I wanna set. And right there, that's cool. So you see the actuation? I can actually go here and adjust the actuation. Let me hit function, the F12, bam, and it's saved. Now you can also go function and then hold the dial down, and it will go into the actuation mode as well, which you can adjust right there. So really cool. Well, if you go into the dial, you actually got to hold it down, bam, and it goes into it. So really cool to be able to adjust everything through that. Same with your snap tap. You can turn it on or off. As you see, mine is on with the A and D active over there. Another cool thing, talking about the screen right here. So if I go function and then you got your arrows left to right, I can go function, right like that, and switch over. And I just got my gears in the background. Go over here, got a cool Cade 6 Destiny back there. This is the Corsair one that's standard on there, and then you got the Corsair one just kind of flowing around like that. So I haven't figured out how to make like a little meme type thing that actually moves. I just found out how to apply pictures to it. But again, my main point is it's so cool being able to adjust every single thing on this keyboard directly on it, and it saves to it, on top of having web-based software if you don't want to deal with shortcuts and whatnot. And as far as the performance of the new Corsair Vanguard Pro 96, it was absolutely solid. Again, I run with snap tap active at a 4,000 polling rate, and my actuation set to 0.7. That's pretty much how I always run it. But again, just dabbling with it across multiple games and whatnot, it was flawless. It really was. It just felt good to use, it sounded good, and it had everything packed into it. The other thing is going to be the price tag. It's going to come in at $230. And again, sure, you can go on Amazon and buy 10 different random Chinese keyboards for probably less than this price right here. But getting everything that's packed into this from a reputable company, all the features and functions, right? I personally think it really justifies it. And again, if you utilize that Stream Deck stuff, it's going to be even more for you. So I truly like this keyboard. I'm excited to see what's going to come in the future, especially with that PCB with the dampening foam with the 5-pin. Like if this is wireless and then you can swap 5-pin switches and magnetic switches, like, oh my gosh, that would be the holy grail keyboard in my opinion. Probably pretty darn expensive as well. But again, it would pack everything right there, you know what I mean? So hopefully we see that down the road. But right now, the Vanguard Pro 96 is going to stay on my desk.